On the 6th of November 2021, in a quiet hotel room in Las Vegas, Nevada, laid the once biggest bodybuilder the industry had ever known.
I grew up, you guys ready for this, in what most people would call a village, a very small town in Jamaica, just outside of Kingston called St. Thomas, in a tiny little village called Trinityville. And there wasn't much to it. It was country. We had...
Just 46 years old, Shawn Rhoden, Mr. Olympia 2018, was found unresponsive, his massive frame still. But what happened? How did the man who dethroned Phil Heath, ending his 7-year reign, fall so dramatically from the pinnacle of bodybuilding to his untimely death? This is the story of Shawn Rhoden. This is Chapter 1. On the 2nd of April 1975, Shawn Rhoden arrived into the world in Kingston, Jamaica. Born to Jamaican parents, young Shawn would later move to the United States, where his true journey would begin.
We would have left here and moved to the United States. Never in a million years would I thought that, being one of the top bodybuilders in the world. All Shawn needs to do to win his first $10 is keep doing what he's been doing all along. That's working hard and not, getting sidetracked by all these things that life throws at you.
Unlike many bodybuilders who started lifting in their early teens, Shawn's path to the sport came later. His first passion was actually soccer, which he excelled at throughout his youth.
This sport, man, it's unlike any other sport that you will ever encounter. I was a soccer player in the summer before I started bodybuilding, and I basically started bodybuilding because my cousin literally dragged me into bodybuilding because he wanted me to be stronger going from swimming to soccer. And I was a really good soccer player that I thought that one day I was gonna, end up in somewhere in Europe playing soccer. So it was a big deal for me, but once...
Despite being smaller than most of his peers, Shawn grew increasingly dissatisfied with his physique. In 1990, his family relocated to the United States, leaving Shawn to navigate a new environment without friends. Fast forward 7 years, at 24, Shawn had developed an impressive physique and was nearly prepared for competitions. And with time, what started as a form of training became a full-blown passion.
There's a certain, passion that you develop from the sport. Like, you don't start this sport going, like football players and basketball players have the luxury of saying, hey, one day I'm gonna sign a $100 million contract. With bodybuilding, it's just driven by passion. Day in, day out, what you put in, you get out of it. And, once you lost that drive and that passion, I tell people to quit.
Aside from his career, Shawn had a daughter whom he was devoted to. She was born in 2015. Chapter 2.
Wanted something better for us, and I was able to take us to the U.S. for a better education and, I wouldn't say better upbringing because nothing was wrong with where we're from, but just an opportunity to make something of herself. And
by the time he was 35, he had earned his IFBB Pro status in 2010 and seemed ready for great things, standing out as one of the top bodybuilders of his time. However, the road to success was far from easy. Life threw unexpected challenges his way. When Shawn's father passed away, it felt like his world fell apart. His father was not just family. He was Shawn's rock. The grief created a huge emptiness in Shawn's life, and he did not know how to cope with it. To escape the pain, he began drinking alcohol, thinking it would help numb his feelings. Many fans had no idea just how deep Shawn's struggle with alcohol went. From 2003 to 2008, he vanished from competitions and fell into a dark place where he no longer cared about the gym or his career. the effects of his drinking became clear. He quickly gained weight and reached over 300 pounds, with most of it being fat. His once impressive physique was now hard to recognize. Friends who admired him for his dedication could hardly believe the change.
They took my dad to the hospital. Came back and they told us that he had level 4 lung cancer. I went from seeing my dad being Superman to I could pick him up and carry him around in one hand.
When your support system die, you kind of shut down sometimes. And, you know, this was one of the times that he really shut down. And
I quit bodybuilding. I drank, and I drank, and I drank, and I drank, and I drank.
Back to that picture, man, it just, to me, that wasn't Shawn. That wasn't the Shawn I knew.
The day he passed away, he looked over at me and he says, "So when are you gonna get back in the gym?"
His lowest moment came in 2007 when Shawn was hospitalized with severe pancreatitis, a serious condition related to heavy drinking. This was a harsh wake-up call.
I read this and what did it say about it? And I just kind of like dozed off for a second, and the next thing I knew, they were like, "Hey, we need to get you a blood transfusion." And I'm like, I kind of perked up and I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "I got a show in 5 weeks."
right.
And the doctor's kind of looking at me like, I'm like, "I just need some IV, I just need some fluid." And he's like, no, we need to, and by then it's like my father-in-law is looking at me. And I'm like, okay, this something isn't right. But I couldn't focus because my mind was like all over the place, like my show, why do I need a blood transfusion? They need me to sign this paperwork. You know, Michelle come running in the hospital now from work, and you know, she's freaking out, looking at me, and she's like, she's like, you're white at this point. And I'm saying, "No, baby, no, I think it's from me being in the shower. I just need some lotion." But you know, I'm trying to be positive, like, you know, I just needed some lotion. I'm just.
Well, you're in the utmost of denial, obviously, at this point. Yeah, that anything's wrong.
For someone who had always been so disciplined and controlled, hearing this from the doctors was heartbreaking. Coming to terms with the fact that his passion for bodybuilding had nearly lost him everything: his health, his sense of self, and his future. In 2009, a clean and determined Shawn Rhoden started one of the most incredible comebacks in bodybuilding history. With the help of renowned trainer Chris Aceto, Rhoden slowly rebuilt his physique.
"So when are you gonna get back in the gym?"
Yeah. A lot of guys come to the gym, they want to play around, they want to do this, they want to do that, but we don't get anything out of the workout. But with him, I know what I get every single time. It's 110%, we make it happen.
To see somebody transformed like that in 15 to 16 weeks, it never gets old. It's like magic.
Sometimes the equipment breaks, the man don't.
No, someone once called me a one-hit wonder. It's like, how many times can that one-hit wonder hit again?
Shawn Rhoden had a unique approach to using performance-enhancing drugs compared to many bodybuilders. While steroid use is common in the sport, he took much lower doses than most of his competitors. Being naturally talented, he did not need the high amounts that others used. His belief was to use just enough to make the most of what God gave me. His health checkups consistently showed he was in better shape than many others in professional bodybuilding. What set Rhoden apart was not just the lower doses, but his careful, almost scientific method. Instead of following the mindset of more is better, he closely monitored how his body reacted to each substance, often using half of what other bodybuilders used for competitions. He got blood tests done every 3 weeks, while most competitors might only do it once a year, if at all. He would adjust his intake based on his kidney and liver health, often asking himself why he should take more when he was getting similar results with less and fewer side effects. During his comeback, Rhoden teamed up with a sports medicine doctor who worked with Olympic athletes to create health-focused plans that also improved his performance. Records from this doctor showed that Shawn's heart health was stable during his competitive years, which is uncommon for top bodybuilders. While most elite bodybuilders typically use 2 to 3 grams of testosterone a week along with other drugs, Rhoden never went over 500 milligrams a week when preparing for a competition. His focus was on using quality substances in smaller amounts rather than relying on products from underground labs, which many of his peers did. From 2010 to 2018, Rhoden's rise was extraordinary. Starting from 11th place in his first Mr. Olympia in 2011, he climbed to 3rd in 2015. Shawn's balanced and aesthetically pleasing physique was quickly becoming the new ideal in a sport that often favored sheer size.
To our winner, and new Olympia champion!
Ooh, there it is! It has happened in Las Vegas. For just the 14th time, we have a new Mr. Olympia.
In 2018, history was made. After Phil Heath's 7-year winning streak, Shawn "Flexatron" Rhoden took the crown. At 43 years old, he became the oldest Mr. Olympia ever. The rivalry between Heath and Rhoden had been building up for years, and it finally reached a peak when the Olympia torch was passed. However, what fans often missed was the respect these two champions had for each other behind the scenes. Rhoden often said that Heath pushed him to improve his own physique and reach championship levels. When asked about beating Heath, Shawn stayed humble.
Give props where I can. I had Bonac and freaking Ramy come up to me last night and tell me like, hey man, you're gonna come back and you're gonna win this again. They're like, we already know. We know you're that good. And to have them both be inspired by what I bring and they look at me as a big brother, I finally realized, number one, how old I am, and number two, how I've impacted their life. You know, it's one of those things you start to realize, like.
Instead of celebrating Heath's loss, Rhoden focused on his own achievement, embracing the moment rather than worrying about the competitor he had just defeated. Just 9 months after reaching the pinnacle of bodybuilding, Shawn Rhoden's world came crashing down. In July 2019, he was charged with sexual assault stemming from an alleged incident that occurred in October 2018. The news hit hard, not just for Shawn, but for everyone in the bodybuilding world. His reputation, which had motivated so many people, faced serious damage from allegations that led him to losing his title and stepping back from the sport. The Olympia organization banned him from competing in the 2019 Mr. Olympia, preventing him from defending his hard-earned championship.
This is basically what the case against Shawn Rhoden is built on. These are the statements made by the victim, the supposed victim in this case, and this is basically the essence of the probable.
While the public was consumed by the headlines about legal issues and the Olympia ban, Shawn was fighting a different battle behind the scenes: isolation. Those close to him shared stories of prolonged silences and days spent cut off from the outside world, highlighting the significant impact that stress was having on both his mental and physical health. Many believe that this hidden emotional struggle, coupled with the grueling demands of professional bodybuilding, contributed even more to his declining health than the sport itself. Despite maintaining his innocence and awaiting trial, the bodybuilding community quickly reacted. The Olympia organization banned him from competing in the 2019 Mr. Olympia, which meant he could not defend his title.
He was banned from competing in Olympia the second the news broke that he was accused of a serious, of rape, basically. Right away, Olympia said you can't compete. So the current Mr. Olympia was not able to come back and defend his title. What do you think about that?
I don't think they should have banned him from competing, for one. I don't see why they did that. Cover their asses, maybe. The alleged crime is heinous. It's horrible. One of the worst that can, outside of children. That's number 2.
Of course.
So I don't know. That's a tough one, man.
What many did not see was the toll this took on his physical health. Years of intense bodybuilding, coupled with the stress he was under, compromised his cardiovascular system. Tragically, on November 6, 2021, Shawn Rhoden was found unresponsive in his hotel room in Las Vegas, Nevada. The official cause of death was ruled a heart attack, but the autopsy was not widely publicized, and many fans still speculate about contributing factors. Some have questioned whether his clean drug approach was truly as minimal as claimed. Also, no post-mortem toxicology has been officially released to validate or contradict this. He was only 46 years old. Shawn Rhoden's story is one of remarkable triumph and devastating fall. From battling alcoholism to winning Mr. Olympia, his journey spanned incredible highs and lows. As he once reflected in one of his interviews,
alcoholic that quit and found back to gym. It was an outlet for me to go to the gym and do something. So someone on the outside is like, hey, I'm having a child, so I need to quit working out. And then what? You've been doing it for so long to keep yourself healthy. Now's the time that you need to be healthy for your child.
Flexatron, Shawn, how you doing? Hey, what's the next big competition you're training for?
Off.
You're off right now? Any thoughts on Brandon Curry, the guy that took Mr. Olympia this year?
It's great. Congratulations, buddy. It's my boy. Wish him the best of luck.
Next year, are you confident you'll be in the Mr. Olympia?
Mike just retired.
No, really?
Okay, I'll be back competing in no time.
Last question, what have you learned from the last few months?
It's a process.
Are you confident in your legal team and everything?
Yes, sir.
Take care, Shawn.
But Shawn's true impact goes beyond trophies and records. His story is about overcoming struggles, finding redemption, and being open about his vulnerabilities. He wasn't just a champion bodybuilder. He faced his personal battles, worked to rebuild his life, and found peace in a sport that pushes for perfection. Even though his life had a sad ending, he made a significant mark on the world of bodybuilding. After Rhoden's passing, many people in bodybuilding started important conversations about health checks in the sport. Some top athletes shared that they would be getting their heart tests done more often. The IFBB also began looking into new health rules for professional bodybuilders. Even in death, Shawn Rhoden was making a difference in the bodybuilding world, encouraging a culture that values both competition and long-term health.